Activation code required. Access granted. Warning. Evacuation sequence activated.
We're back. Welcome to the bunker.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the S-4 Paranormal Bunker. We are here live from the Cascade Mountains in the heart of Washington State. So, tonight, joining us is Nikki Jacobs. In the studio, we got me, your host, Cole Wigleitner, my wife, Kayla Wigleitner, and our son, John, whoever his last name is. Wow. What?
Oh.
Well, hello, Nikki.
Hello.
So tonight we are going to talk about some cryptid stuff, some current event stuff a little bit.
And whatever the hell else we feel like talking about.
Well, yeah, because okay.
Let's be honest here.
You guys realize that the Seine River is so dirty that even Swamp Thing won't go in that fucker.
The what river?
Seine.
Seine.
Right, whatever it is.
Seine? Seine? So?
Yeah. That
The
river in
French-
France.
Oh,
Right.
French River. Okay, the one that like turned green and started melting people's shoes? Okay.
Yeah, you know they're actually doing it tomorrow.
Yeah.
They are actually going to go up ahead.
It had E. coli in it. 4 or 5 days ago, they were talking about how high the E. coli level was, that they were not going to allow athletes to do whatever event.
Okay. It's
I'm
like
like-
rowing and there's something else that's going on there. But,
The rowing, they figured out. They did that 2 days ago now.
yeah. Okay.
They did that a couple of days ago, so that's different.
Every other swimming event has went off without a hitch. It's the triathlon.
Oh,
because
the
it's supposed to be in a
triathlon.
river.
They're supposed to swim across that shit.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to throw this out here. We had a pandemic happen, okay, not too long ago. And I feel like the best way for another global pandemic to happen is to swim in green sludge and go back to your home. Like, that doesn't seem like a great idea to me, to be like, hey, let's swim in this radioactive waste and then hug a bunch of people and be like, yeah, we won!
I am
And
pretty
then
sure
head to different countries.
that there is a small town in Michigan. I can't remember the name of it right now. But
Flint.
They'd tell you to go fuck yourself.
Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, their water was fucked for a while. For a long
No,
while. It's still fucked.
It's still, matter of fact, they are, a lot of people have been moving out of that town, city, whatever it is. Anyway,
But that's
Just
what I'm
saw-
saying. Like, we're gonna take, like, some of our best athletes from every fucking country around the world, and we're gonna put them in green sludge water?
Yes.
they were talking about how bad the E. coli was in it, and I'm like, it was a deadly form of it, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I mean,
This is a
and-
good idea.
Talking about it, I was like, man,
This is a great idea.
oh God, why, Cole?
This is how you make cryptids.
Okay, alright. So, what, we're gonna have Canadian Swamp Thing? We're gonna have, like, what do you want? You know what? I saw The Shape of Water.
I love that. I
And
love that.
I'm-
movie was-
I'm totally fine with the cryptid coming out like that, dude. Like, that's cool. Oh, no.
Hey, Rob. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Keith.
I was on a call. It made it a little difficult to answer.
No
Yeah,
worries.
but I mean, like, okay, if we're gonna take like the best of the best athletes that we have, and we're gonna put them in green sludge water, and we're not gonna expect any kind of like outcome from this, like what are we thinking? That's insane. We're gonna put them in E. coli filled water and expect them not to get sick?
Yes.
We're talking about the Seine River in Paris and athletes going through it.
Well, that's a new Olympic contest.
Yeah.
Right.
How far do you swim before you die?
No, it's who becomes the
Exactly.
cryptid first.
Who becomes the cryptid first? Okay. Here,
They-
drink the magical green water and see what you become. Like, God.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, they've got enough garbage in the Seine that you could actually run the contest on top of the water.
That's true.
Right.
I mean, swimming might be a problem, but running on it shouldn't be too much of a hassle.
Okay, I could just totally see somebody from the stands being like, look, it's Jesus! Okay, somebody just like sprints across the water like one of those lizards. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's why they call him a Jesus lizard.
Right?
So apparently they have 4 pumps that, like water purification pumps that are made
that's-
for a river running ahead of where they're running the triathlon.
Well, they should have done that, like, I don't know, 50 years ago when it would have actually made a difference.
Well,
Well,
because they're
here's-
still pumping sewage in.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of people that.
But apparently the reason that they haven't held the event yet because they've killed 3 pumps already.
And not enough people?
So
Oh my gosh.
now all 4 pumps are running at supposedly 100% capacity, and they are going to be able to run tomorrow morning. Well, tonight, I guess, now.
I would be freaking terrified if I was one of those athletes. Like, you've trained your entire life to do this, like, triathlon, and all of a sudden you're like, am I gonna pop out with MRSA at the end of this?
None of them are worried.
Like, really?
Well, okay,
Yep.
that's not the only issue. There are other issues like athletes. I was reports today about, or this morning, about how athletes are not able to get the nutrition that they require, and they're having to do makeshift meals to bring into the different stadiums that they're going into because of how Paris has done the Olympics and
The Olympics and the food amounts and everything.
yeah, it's really fascinating as to what's going on there. So everybody's throwing hissy fits, the beds and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh, please.
Well, yeah,
You
they're
deal
like made
with-
of some weird cardboard so that they can be. It's an awkward thing.
It's so they don't have sex, because it is a real problem.
Oh, no, they got no problem having sex.
But I'm telling you, like, if you put a bunch of people on a cardboard bed, they're just gonna have sex on a cardboard bed. It's not gonna matter if they're actually in that state of mind. It's not gonna matter what kind of bed they're on. I mean, shit, people for how many centuries had sex out in the woods in a cave somewhere. Like, this isn't something new.
That's not why they got the cardboard beds.
What was it?
It was because last Olympics they broke so many beds doing that it actually like put a dent into.
The tourism
That-
industry.
Oh, okay.
So they're doing cardboard.
So they're
beds.
just gonna do cardboard beds. Okay.
Yeah, it's not to prevent that. It's so that it doesn't cost that much.
They do the cardboard down below. They do the mattress, the mattress on top. But I'm like, oh my god.
I'm just saying that's like a whole new level of recycling that I don't want to be part of. Okay, like,
Oh goodness.
Well,
Anyway,
in that sense, you just got to pick where you want to get your disease from.
yeah, either the river or the bed. Like, which way are we doing this?
Friend. But I actually do have a question for that, pertaining to the Olympics, not the sex of the Olympics. For, off the top of your guys' head, how many cryptids do we have that spark from Greece?
Oh, dude, like a ridiculous amount of them.
Yeah, Medusa. Others.
Well, and if you think of subclasses of cryptids too, okay, because you have Medusa, but under Medusa, because originally she was like the Serpentine Queen.
She was a human.
Okay. Huh?
She was a human.
She was a human, but then she was turned into like the Serpentine Queen as far as Greece was concerned. Okay? So any of her offspring at that point would be another form of cryptid. Just like any of Zeus's in the beginning would have been another form of either humanoid or humanoid cryptid.
Okay, I need a memory refresher. Did Medusa actually ever have any kids?
I
That
don't
I
believe so.
no.
There is a reason I'm asking, because I believe in the Percy Jackson frickin' show,
Yeah.
she has a kid.
She does.
But I don't think that's real. I know the show isn't real, but
in actual Greek mythology, it doesn't say whether or not Medusa actually had children. Okay. So
She might have a problem with it if you think about it. You know, if you just look at the mythology behind it, every time somebody got close to her, they ended up stoned.
Well, that's if they looked
that
at her.
happens in Vancouver too, Keith.
Yeah, but at least in Vancouver, somebody can move them.
But like, my question would be, does it affect? Do you think that doing this every 2 years really affects them?
affects
And
what? Like affects the actual cryptids that were made because of Greek mythology, or affects?
Effects them, not affects them, but
Okay.
does it? Do you think
Do you
it does
think
anything
the
to them?
Olympics affect any cryptids that would be spawned from those particular times? Well, honestly, at this point, I would say no. It might have in the past. But at this point, I would say that it's more propaganda than anything else. Like, it's not the same as it used to be.
What I'm saying is, I guess this question is more for the two that actually remember their past lives.
Yeah.
Did
There's
it
a
then?
Sorry, go ahead.
Did it then?
The Olympics have never had an impact on cryptids on the whole anyway.
No?
Not even when you go all the way back to the original side. And what they've got for Olympics now doesn't qualify as Olympics, in my opinion.
Right, and that's what I was saying. It's so propaganda and everything now that it's not really the same as it was before.
What do you mean? They brought back the chariot race.
Yeah.
It's just skateboards.
Yeah, but they didn't bring the gladiators with them. The unfortunate part, when you look at the Olympics themselves, originally it was very simple. There was a definitive winner, a definitive loser. Okay? You did not have, you had better dancing moves, or you could pull a flip faster or better than the other person. You know, the actual Olympics, if they went back to the original thing, it might have an impact. But in today's world, I mean, let's face it, nothing in society has much impact on cryptids or any of the races. Now, I'm the last person you want to talk to about which is a cryptid and which one fits where. Because cryptids are not what I've studied.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, like, we got cryptids, we got ancient races, and then we got ET races. And they get intertwined and mangled and meshed between each other all the time. And people will sit there and say, oh, well, that's a cryptid, or that's an ET, or that's a ancient race, but they're all squished in with each other now. And
Well, here's the funny thing. Cryptids are only cryptids until they're identified.
Yeah.
You
well,
know,
like the what was it? The gorilla. A gorilla used to be a cryptid until
The silver-
they identified it as an actual living species that was out in the jungles, this place and that. And now it's an actual, hey, look, it's a gorilla.
Yeah, they did all sorts of scientific testing on it, and
Well, and a
easy.
lot of people say that, like, the Kraken didn't exist, Kraken doesn't exist, and then all of a sudden we find these giant squids, and we're like, well, if we could have a squid this big, then technically back then couldn't there have been something that was a little bit bigger and considered a Kraken? Like,
So, to be fair, I think it affected him. He
Who?
peed in that river now. That's why it's not good. He's like, fuck you guys.
oh my god.
Fred.
I could see it. He's a trickster.
No, but, okay.
hello, Robert.
Hi, Robert.
Hi, Robert.
The ancient
How you doing, Robert?
races.
Hi.
Were any of them still around in the times like of Greek mythology? Like,
Like the
I hate saying it that way. In the times of ancient Greece,
like the
was there any ancient races still like having a presence?
Well, there's like
absolutely.
notarized, like in if you read like the Bible and a bunch of different stuff like that, then Watchers have been around since the beginning of time, which could be considered either an ET or a cryptid race, depending on what you believe.
And that would be the big problem. But the short answer to your question is yes. There were a lot of ancient races still around at that point.
Yes.
like giants and the Dwemer and no, not Dwemer.
Like the giants, the fluorite, what you would know. You know, the Arboreans were there, the walking trees. You know, the Elfid, the dwarves, the, the list goes on.
No, but
Basically, what people don't realize is there's a lot more that's been around for a lot longer than humans have been.
Well,
Yep.
and they talk about the Jinn all the time through like history.
The Jinn got here way after humans did.
Did they?
Oh, yeah. Correction. They got here before the humans did, but they got here way after the Elfid race did.
Okay.
now, my question for you guys is: do you think any cryptids or any ancient races ever actually entered the games?
Oh, there's gotta be, like,
Unlikely.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't be a surprise to see them, but they wouldn't go after front line.
Well, they're trying to kind of stay hidden. They don't want to bring a whole bunch of, like, views
wouldn't-
onto themselves.
Wouldn't
And
they?
that would be the key. Because the last thing you want to do, because you got to remember, the ancient races went underground because humans surfaced and man populated so fast. But then humans were built for war, so that would explain that in a hurry.
Well, and apparently that's also because of the Olympics. There's a lot of breeding going on.
I mean, you lost me.
Right. So apparently it is a huge problem that they're having at the Olympics every time. Everyone is having, like, all of the athletes are getting busy
Yeah.
the entire 2 weeks.
Well, it's the only time North Korea can get out, so
That's fair.
I think that
What is going on? Why do our mics are just taking over for some reason?
Yeah.
Sorry, say that again, Nikki.
They are coupling up.
Yeah, hardcore. But apparently it's not a new thing.
No, it's only been going on for, I don't know, 3,000 years-ish.
Since it started.
Well,
Pretty
I
much.
mean, like, if you actually think about the logistics of that, though, they've been training their entire life. They haven't had time for like outside relationships, most of them. Depending on what country you're from, you're taken when you're like 4 or 5 years old and molded into the person that they made you. Like, you haven't had time to get out and to spread your wings or to figure out anything else. Like, this would be the perfect timing because you're around other people that are just like you, that had the same upbringing and the same issues.
Ultimately correct.
Yeah. Now. Okay, I understand with the ancient. Well, no, I understand more with the cryptids that they would never enter because they don't want to be seen.
But most ancient races don't.
I guess what I'm wondering about is like some of the stories we have from ancient Greece with Hercules,
like superhumans
like
and
like
stuff
that.
like that.
Yeah.
Like half gods, demigods.
And that would be what you call a half-breed. And yes, there absolutely were some half-breeds. Purebreds wouldn't do it. But you gotta remember, Heracles was thrown into the spotlight because he was a little different.
Yeah.
Well,
But
just
he
like
never entered the
Samson
Olympics.
or any of these others. What was that? I'm sorry, Keith.
As far as I'm aware, Heracles never actually entered the Olympics, period.
Oh, I swear I thought he did. I'm sorry.
No, he entered the war. That worked out well.
But, I mean, like, even within human races, we have people that would be considered superhuman within our race. Okay? People that have more abilities in one way or the other than somebody else. So,
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean...
But again...
And they're still human.
Really? Most of them?
Most of the people, like, you take a look at, just to draw on a sport I know, or at least know of, you take a look at Brock Lesnar. Okay, from WWE. Purebred human, just built like a freight train.
Right. Well, and I think of, like, certain people that have played in, like, the NBA or the NFL, where they're no different than any of the rest of us, but they're squashing those records like nobody's business. They are so much faster or so much stronger than people of the past that you're like, how is it even possible that we continuously... Well, because we're evolving too. So we're gonna keep beating certain records as we evolve as a species. Because it's like, how much faster could a human being be? We beat the, like, 100-meter record every, like, 16 years. And it's like, oh, wow, that was by a lot.
I forget which scientist it was, but there was a scientist about 20 years ago that calculated if you could get all of your muscles to pull in unison, you could lift upwards of 25,000 pounds. The human body will carry the weight.
Well, kind of
But
like a pulley system, depending on how you do it. Like,
ultimately, yes.
Well, there's that dude that built, what was it? Coral Castle.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. He was like a scrawny dude. He was tiny. Like, in consideration of, like, normal people of his age at that point. And he was frail and everything else. And somehow he still lifted all these coral blocks and made these intricate structures. And nobody really knows how he did it.
No, and he died when he took the secret with him.
Exactly. Yeah. And I know that he used to say that he knew the secret of the ancient Egyptians, and that's how he did it. He had a very, like, open thing about that.
Go ahead, Nick.
And didn't he start that in his 70s?
Yeah.
Didn't he Coral Castle somewhere in his late 60s, early 70s?
Yeah, he was, I believe he was like 62 when he started the Coral Castle. I'm not 100% sure. But I do know that he was building it for somebody that his love. He made it for his
He made
partner.
it for the woman he was in love with.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
It was a gift.
she was not reciprocal of the love, but that's why he was making this and why he put so much effort into it, was he wanted to prove to her basically that he was worthy.
That wench.
Which is cute because material objects will never do that.
Right?
Exactly.
You find your person, and that's your person. Like, but, I mean, there's several times throughout history where somebody who was considered weak or who was considered not to even be enough to do anything did amazing feats. And you gotta think that...
Goliath. Take a look at David and Goliath.
Right?
You know, David was nothing to look at, but boy, did he have an eye. Did he have an eye?
Right?
You know.
Well, and then you look at folks like Andre the Giant,
Yeah.
who was very, I mean, just a huge individual and very strong.
Well, I mean, even looking in, like, today's standards, you look at, like, Shaq compared to, like, your average everyday person, and you're like, that dude is huge. Okay?
See, the funny thing is, when you look at you know, when you look at some of these people, go back 100 years, there was a chap in England that most people have forgotten about. By the name of Eddie McCaskill.
Yeah.
Guy stood over 8.5 feet tall and lifted a 2-ton anchor onto his shoulder.
Right.
Right. Then the dock gave way and he cut it all the way through his clavicle. Died of complications.
And I mean,
But he
there's
never dropped
like,
it either.
there's these kind of crazy feats all over the place. And if William Shatner did a series on like the unexplained or like superhuman or whatever it was.
It was the
And
unexplained.
he would go around to like all of these places and find people that had like crazy special abilities, and he would be like, this guy can withstand like this much electricity and it's crazy. This guy can do this. And it was like superhuman stuff that if you'd have done that to the average everyday person, they wouldn't have been able to withstand any of that.
No, but it would be fun to watch.
Right? And, I mean, looking at what the human body is capable of when you unlock certain things inside of it, it makes you wonder what the human body would be capable of if you were able to fully unlock the potential of it.
You remember when I told you about humans' ability to tap into what we call 0-point energy? That's how they do it. Every human on the planet can pull it off, but most humans have been taught they can't.
Exactly. That which is like all abilities. We're all born with abilities, but we're consistently told that you're not able to do it. And it's like, oh, for...
Right.
By,
like, I mean, your parents will tell you...
5 years old.
Your parents will sit there and they'll be like, oh, those are imaginary friends. Those are this. Those are that. And they'll explain it away to the point where you explain it away in yourself. Even though deep down somewhere inside, you're like, I really don't think so. But
See,
you'll keep pushing it down until it's nothing.
That's where I got off lucky. My parents didn't tell me it was wrong. They just told me to keep it quiet. Of course, you got to remember, I grew up on a military base, small town in the middle of the Bible Belt. Telling somebody that you can talk to the dead is not going to be well received.
Right.
Yeah. I had family who was beaten for it.
Well, and I feel like all of these things in the past that, like the witchcraft trials, all of these things where they silenced people, where they hurt people, where they did all of this stuff to people because they said that they were special or different in some way, shape, or form, has also manipulated people for many centuries afterwards.
I made a lot I made a staggering amount of money during the witch hunts.
I remember you talking about that.
Well, I worked for the government looking for witches.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I absolutely did, and I'd play by their rules. I'd test the witches. I'd go and question them. I'd investigate. If they were good people, I'd find them innocent. Mm-hmm. Heck, half my closest friends over the years, I burned at the stake 400 years ago.
Mm-hmm. That's why I left.
Well, and
why? Because at the stake?
Me and my coven, we left Massachusetts. We went underground. We got away.
Yeah, but it's so hard to see the sunlight, the moon underground when you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're escaping, you gotta do something different.
Right. Well, and that's why I've always said, like, we have these, like, you have, like, soul mates, but you have soul circles, too, where you have several people that are connected to you in some way, shape, or form, and you're gonna continuously, throughout reincarnations, throughout the years, throughout everything, you're gonna find specific people that are connected to you, whether they're a lover, whether they're the person that's going to kill you, but they're still connected to you in some way, shape, or form. And you'll go through several different reincarnations being connected to these particular people.
Ow. It's okay, I'll live. I just gotta put my leg back where it belongs.
I did that the other day.
No hurting yourself aloud.
It hurt so bad.
Well, I don't mind it too much. It just makes it very difficult to stand up.
Yeah.
I can fully agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, let's face it there. Let's face it there, Robert. You tend to stand at a really odd angle a lot of the time.
Should be renamed Eileen. Yeah.
Yeah. That's just terrible. You know that.
Totally.
It was funny. I stepped out of the car the other day, and there was a girl on the other side of the roadway. Like, I was in a parking lot. There was a girl up on the sidewalk. And I stepped out of the car, and all of a sudden, all you hear is this kaboom, and I hit the floor. And she started over to me, and she goes, "Are you okay?" And I looked at her, and I said, "Well, this is normal." But no, the reality is, when you start looking at humans, so many people look at humans that have an abnormal ability, abnormal as in not common. Mm-hmm. And they go, that person is, they're either they claim to be either alien or what have you. Most of them are flat out human. Mm-hmm. And there's a real easy way to tell if somebody's human, right? If they sustain their life on human food, okay, number one. Number two, and these have to be together. And number two, if medication that you're being given, whether it's herbological or scientifically produced, if your body responds in a normal fashion, as in the way the majority of people do, sorry, whether you want to believe it or not, you're human. Or your body is anyway. Mm-hmm. Okay, now your memories may well be from another lifetime or from another race. Mm-hmm. Okay. But just because your strongest memories are not of this life doesn't mean you're not human.
Yep.
Okay.
See, I've got a bit of a kink. And the only reason I rely on human-based food is because, frankly, I don't feel like going and testing it out any other way. But medication across the board doesn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is what medication should do. Okay? Like, you know, the doctor put me on medication for my sugar levels. It's supposed to help balance your sugar levels. In less than 2 months, I was almost blind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is an abnormality. You know those neat little things called energy drinks? They're great to put me to sleep like that.
Your brain runs differently.
Oh, yeah. You know,
I'm very much like that too.
but where it comes to the Olympics and the cryptids and what have you, cryptids won't come out. Number one, you got to remember when they're doing an Olympic race. When was the last time they set up an Olympic race to run through the woods?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
You know,
all on a track.
You know, and I mean, you're just not going to see a whole lot of cryptids out in the middle of a street corner.
Mm-hmm.
Not likely. You won't even see ETs do that.
Well, and the thing is that you might occasionally, but they'd be ones that didn't know that they were.
Yeah, there are people. I mean, I heard somebody very well renowned, and no, I'm not going to tell you who. They were asked on a public show,
Mm-hmm.
do all the hybrids know they're hybrids? Their immediate reaction was, absolutely they do. Now, I will tell you this. That's kind of like asking, do all adopted kids know they're adopted?
Right, and I mean, there's that small subsector that, for whatever reason, has no idea what they actually are. And they've tried their entire life to try to figure out, why am I so different in this way or that way? But it comes back down to, well, you are who you are.
Well, the thing is, there is unlimited potential to what humans have, what you can do, what you can become. The problem is that we're taught you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Denial.
You know,
Denial is success.
one day I'll see denial, maybe.
Well,
But I
the
gotta get
other
over
thing is, like, doctors themselves will go, well, this is abnormal. Let's try to fix it with this, this, and this. Or let's take this out, or let's move this over to this so that you're normal again. Well, maybe that's the way your body was set up for a reason.
What I meant by denial is that our society tries to dumb down different things so that it makes us more difficult to advance further.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And so,
yeah, I do agree with you there.
Yeah.
So, like Keith was saying about the sugar medication that he got. I'm assuming it's like metformin or something of that nature.
Bingo.
Okay. So everybody on here knows I had some serious thyroid cancer a couple years ago, and they took out my entire thyroid and everything else to try to combat it and everything. And they started me on Synthanol, which is like a fake thyroid. It gives you the same stuff that a thyroid would give you, like in your system. And
right.
I have been on this medication now for, since I was 27 years old. So it's over 10 years that I've been on this medication, and they still can't get the levels right. It doesn't matter. They're always wrong.
Here's
everything is fucked up. Yeah.
Here's just a thought for you. Have they tried L-Troxin?
Now, they have tried several different types of medication, but the problem that I have is that I am very, very allergic to most of the compounds in regular medications. So I have to get them specially compounded for myself, which is why I can't take most of the over-the-counter meds, because of what's actually in the compound that, like, holds them together as a pill. So mine are specially made for me to not have anything that I am allergic to in it.
Have you looked into naturopathic?
I've looked into some of the naturopathic things, and some of them seem to work better than others. Some of them didn't work at all, and I'm just kind of all over the place still because...
Did you ever try kelp?
Mm-mm. No.
Is that yes or no?
That's a no.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can buy it from a normal health food store.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Yeah, I always do research.
I let somebody else test it, and then I go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They had me on kelp. They had me on pig, a form of pig thyroid. This is back in the 90s.
Right.
And Bickley had gotten me off of all stereotypical pharmaceutical thyroid. And it worked for quite a while. But for me, I wasn't able to maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm going to have to figure out how to train you guys how to do that. How to modify your own system so you can actually sell it.
yeah, it would be good because there are a lot of things that I know that I can do. I just haven't figured out how to heal different sections.
Mm-hmm.
How to heal different sections of me.
Well, here's the problem is you're trying to figure out how. Don't. Your body already knows.
Yeah, it's using the heal method. I call it the heal method, but it's what you talk about with the energy. Focus on the word heal.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I think of it is it goes beyond the cellular level, but it's an energy form basically.
No,
Well,
can I ask though, is there like a certain level of like you are too far gone to be able to do that?
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, take a look at people that have suffered amputation. You're pretty much hooped if you cut it off.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But in most cases, well, let me put it this way. I pulled a guy out of my ex-father-in-law was in a coma for 6 weeks. They had called everybody in to say goodbye. In 2 hours, I did 2 hours work on him, and he woke up the following morning. Mm-hmm. He did eventually die 17 years later. Okay, but the short answer to your question is very rarely.
Okay. Like, I'm just like, like, is there too much blood loss or is there too much injury to be able to, like, fully heal that?
Sometimes, yes. If you lose too much blood, you're pretty much buggered.
Okay.
Sometimes that is true. In your case, I don't feel it is.
Okay.
Now, let me ask you this. Your thyroid, did they actually physically remove it?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Then what you've got to do is reprogram a set of cells to actually replicate, to actually produce what the thyroid used to.
Okay.
Every cell in the human body can be reprogrammed. Everyone.
He's not the only one who talk about this, Kayla. There are a number of folks who talk about this very thing, reprogramming your cells to take care of situations that the body has.
See, we got to remember, the human body, every single cell you have has a perfect blueprint of a perfectly healthy body.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to know. Like, let me ask you this. You breathe, right?
Exactly, and it's a involuntary, so it's the same thing with that?
Yes.
Okay.
You don't have to know the mechanics. It would be advisable to forget you don't know how to heal, and that will save you a whole lot of hassles.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Well, it's like those things where they're like, certain children can do these amazing feats, and then they're told by their parents they can't do it, so therefore they never do it again because it's an impossibility to do.
Yep.
I was told that a lot. Fortunately, Mom and Dad actually, like I said, they just encouraged me to keep it quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I didn't learn.
Yeah, my grandmother and my great aunt and my great uncles were taught to keep their any kind of ability that they had quiet, especially from the father, because I was told by my grandmother and a couple of other family members that they would be beaten if it was talked.
Right.
And
Yeah, that's why I locked out.
yeah, very much so, because when I was little, my grandmother, I mean, she was like, "Shh, Nicole, we don't talk about those things, or you're considered crazy." And she literally projected an image in my head at that. I've never talked about this, but she literally projected an image in my head of what was considered an insane asylum at that time, and freaked me out so bad that I mean, I didn't talk about it.
Right.
Just
You
didn't.
suppress those things because you can't, or you feel like you can't.
Well, at least you were lucky. You had an image projected regarding insane asylums. I just got handed over to the MyLabs.
Well, I've been there, done that too. According to other people who've told me, "Oh, what you're talking about is my labs." I'm like, I'm still trying to wrap my brain around that, but that's a whole nother subject.
Right.
Yeah. But, when you look at it, a lot of what people are calling, superhuman abilities, they're not superhuman. They're just human abilities that people don't realize they don't have.
Yes.
I mean, I take a look at some of the shots people make. If you're watching basketball, right, you throw a ball across the court and dump it. I'm like, I'm lucky if I get a basketball, throw it across the court and hit the wall.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
That's how I was in baseball. I used to play baseball as a kid, and that was quite couldn't throw a ball very far, but man, get a bat and a ball in my hands and I could make that ball fly really far.
No, see, that's the funny part is that, so my oldest son, Jalen, was really, really into basketball for a long time. And we'd play, pig or horse out on our little basketball hoop. And I am, the queen of walking back as far as I possibly can to where I can still see it. And, one-handing to where it, lands and goes into the hoop. Okay? So I just, destroy him, even though he was, massively a better basketball player than I was. There is no way I could dribble like he could. There is no way I could make the shots that he could. But this one particular one, I'm like, I got this, almost every time. So I just keep doing that to him, and he'd be like, what the hell?
See, my claim to fame was baseball. I could throw a ball from home, aiming for first, and shortstop had to catch it.
Ow.
See, and it's just one weird little thing like that, but as far as dribbling or running up to the hoop and doing a layup or anything like that, there's no way. He would totally destroy me in any of these things.
But that's just it. See, everybody's got a number of abilities. And the way it was put to me, take your brain, break it into 100 rooms. Every one of those rooms has an ability in it or a sense in it. Okay? But when you're born, you have enough power to light up 15 rooms. So pick which of the 100 you want. Okay? Now, if you want to pick up a new one, you've got to either shut one down or increase your energy flow. Most people are born with 5 senses and a rudimentary 6th. I was born with 15.
Okay.
And it's just a question of forgetting you don't know what they are. I mean, that's a little oversimplified, but that's what it boils down to.
I think I was born with 2. I stole the other 3.
I wouldn't be surprised. I love you, baby.
That's what I do.
Yep. He's like the lightning thief.
I didn't do that. Oh, wait a minute. It's something.
Now,
Do you remember stuff?
I'm assuming, okay. So I have this really weird problem with myself. And unfortunately, my husband here has had to deal with this for many, many years. Okay.
Keep talking about the crazy.
Okay. He calls it the crazy. Okay. And I have to agree with him on certain levels of that. But I have never been able to shut my brain down. Okay. So even sleeping, even that kind of stuff, like where a regular person would be thinking about like 4 different options to this, right? I have like 2,000 different options to this, and it just like runs through them all the time, and it's like a continuous flow of every possible outcome, every negative outcome, every positive outcome, and like goes through every conversation that you would have leading up to that outcome. Okay? So when I like say something to Cole and I go, oh, well, maybe it's this, I've already thought of every conversation that we would have leading up to that point, and I've already thought of the 10,000 outcomes that could have potentially come from that. So I am presenting the best option out of the 10,000 that I feel is the way to present it.
Oh, bullshit.
Okay.
You are presenting the one that you already chose and that I actually kind of agreed with in your mind, but real me was like, no.
No,
What the
that's
hell
not
do
the
you
way
think?
that works. Right? No, and I get it, and that's why I feel like, well, sometimes I do, because I feel like I go through so many things in my brain that before I even have a conversation with somebody, or before I even think about attempting a conversation with somebody, I have already gone through as many possible outcomes and as many possible incomes as possible until I'm going, okay, this is in my head what I think the best possible scenario would be, so this is what I'm going to present to this person.
Let me ask you this. How many things do you work on literally simultaneously?
Ooh. Well, Cole would be better answer for that.
Physically, I've seen her work on about 10 at once, successfully. After 10, it gets complicated and she can't do it.
I used to be that way.
Mentally, it's probably about 50.
Yeah, like, I cannot calm it down. Like, it can be something as simple as an art project that I'm working on. But I can be working on that art project, writing a book, watching this, and listening to an audiobook, and, like, focusing on some Sudoku and everything, like, simultaneously. Like, it can all be at the same exact time.
Well, first of all, fuck you, don't lie to these people. You do not play Sudoku. You play stupid block breaker.
I play Block Breaker or whatever on my phone, like, or the little word game where I'm finding, like, 15 different words for this thing.
Search and find.
Whatever, yeah. Okay. But when I get in one of those moods, like, I can be working on 10, 11 projects at a time. And I can never 100% focus on any of them, but I focus on all of them.
You eventually get to the point where you can focus on all of them simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is she can't finish them.
I cannot. That is my big thing.
Well, here's the drawback to you. That, unfortunately, is multitasking. If you're not finishing, you're not multitasking. What you've got is a hyperactive brain that you literally can train yourself to slow down. Just nobody's told you how.
Okay. No, I mean,
And, most of the therapists don't know how, so they won't tell you. Well, they can't tell you.
Like, I'll finish them, but they're never to my 100%. Like, I end up, like, if I'm doing an art project, and I'm not terrible at art, I'll say that, but if I'm doing an art project and I'm like writing a book and I'm trying to figure out these two things, like I'll go through and I will write like 150 pages of a book, but then in my head I'm like, that's not the best I could do, and I'll erase everything and start over. Like, it's not so much that I can't finish them, it's that it's not up to the expectations that I want it to be.
I'd lay odds by clinical definition, you're probably ADHD with a massive perfectionistic concept.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You know,
so shit like that book that she wrote was talking about that she just wrote. And she got to about the 10th chapter. She had explained everyone's background, filled it with people. It was actually becoming a good book. And then she was like, this book would be great if it wasn't for all the people in it.
I keep saying the same thing about the planet.
Right?
Friend, everyone she invents, she hates.
Well, and I think it's because they have so much humanity in them, and I'm just not a big fan of most humanity, that I see something in them that I'm like, ugh, I hate you now. And like, we'll just like completely start over. It's horrible.
You do realize by what you're saying, it's pretty simple to see where the problem is. And you're going to love this one, because I suffered from it for years.
Mm-hmm.
You're literally afraid of success.
Yes, absolutely she is.
Actually, afraid is
100%.
probably the wrong word. Terrified would be more to the point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I used to be like this.
Mm-hmm.
But
See,
and
I
that's the
used to
problem.
procrastinate. I used to procrastinate. Now I just don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm.
that's the thing. Like, it's not like where other things they say, realizing there's a problem is half the battle. Well, that's the thing. She can't finish the battle. So, because that's the problem.
Well, first rule of thumb, take the word can't and throw it out. It's not you can't finish it, it's you won't.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. Agreed.
Now, I mean, like, okay, and I look at that in, like, my professional life, too. Because I've been offered some ridiculously good jobs, okay? And I've turned every single one of them down. And I don't know if it's, like, a fear of the unknown, or if it's, like, a fear of maybe I'm not good enough to actually be able to do that, or, like, some kind of imposter state. I don't know what it is. But
Guys, she literally just offered an English to English translator job.
What?
It's
Well,
teaching
maybe
white
I'm a
people
little
to
fancier, but how do you have a problem translating English to English?
because white people within our area can't seem to understand
native culture.
even native speak.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still English. It's
Oh,
just
true.
it's teaching white people how not to be prejudiced.
Basically. And I got offered that one about, 2 months ago. Okay, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm going to stick to the stuff that I know. I'm just going to be here and just do my shit and go home.
The stupid part is she does this for free at her job every day.
I do.
So I've got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the people involved, who you're going to work with, or the job itself?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Do you overthink the people who are involved with the prospective job that you have been offered,
Mm-hmm.
or do you overthink the job itself?
I gotta be honest with you, I think it's both. I actually tend to overthink absolutely everything until I just kind of go, it's too much. It's freaking me out, and I'm done. Like,
I used to do this. This is totally a success issue thing.
Yeah.
You're talking what I used to do. Now it's, if I don't want to do it, I won't do it, period. Just exactly what Keith talked about. The other thing is that I don't overthink it anymore. It is retraining your brain.
Okay.
In the sense of, that's what worked for me. Keith may have something different, or even Robert may have something different. But what worked for me was I had to retrain the way I thought regarding perspective.
Oddly, I had to get mad at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to get to a point to where I was fed up with it, and fed up with the behavior that I was exhibiting. And other people didn't see it, but I was like, no, this is what I'm doing. This is what needs to change. And I basically learned that I had to retrain my own brain in order to, I don't want to say get myself out of that, because that's not the right way to say it. I'm not sure how to say it. But for me, that's what worked for me, because I'm very much like what you described. For me, it was, I always said between 7 and 9 things and have a conversation at the same time while I'm working on the 7 to 9 things in my head to fruition until they were completed. Mm-hmm. And it sometimes drove people absolutely stark raving Looney Tunes. And then they're like, how can you do that? I'm like, it's just how my brain works and operates.
It's like, how can you?
Yeah. I mean, why aren't you doing that? And they're like, well, I don't think like that. And I'm like, but why not?
Well, and see, and that's why I say, I think I drive Cole completely insane sometimes. Because
I hate to ask you this, but have you met Cole?
I have.
He was nuts way before you met him.
Oh, absolutely. And this is why we have been together for, going on 18 years now, okay? Is because
I just thought I'd ask.
He's like the only person in my life that understands my fucking particular form of crazy, and is like, okay, I'm gonna deal with it.
I do not understand it.
Okay.
In any way, shape, or form, I do not understand it. But I'm willing to work with it.
There you go.
See, I'm quite happy, and you guys are actually the first people I can actually tell this to. I told you we were redoing Races of the World.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I finished the expansion today.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Now we just have to go through and finish editing it. So it won't be out by tomorrow, but it will be out at the latest, because I'm going away in the middle of August for 2 weeks. It will be out by the middle of September, but I finished the initial expansion on it.
Okay, if I order a copy when the new one comes out, how do I get it signed?
That's easy. Order from me. Every one of the ones that send out from here, I end up signing.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I've got my other one, and if you're expanding it, I want another one, you know?
Yeah, the new one has not only got more information on many of the races, it's got pictures on all of them, plus some new technologies I've recovered.
Now, with the pictures, did you hire somebody to draw them, or did you do them yourself?
Oh, no, I definitely hired somebody to draw them. I can't draw a stable stick man, never mind a picture.
Okay, so you just basically told them how they looked, and they did it like a sketch artist?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Perfect.
Now, they're not as realistic as I would have liked, but they are good enough for me to be happy with.
Okay. Perfect.
Congratulations, Keith.
The one thing I don't have is I still haven't found in technology a technological artist.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I'd like to find too, because there are things that I have in my head, and when I try to describe it, it's like, oh God, I need somebody that can actually understand some of this stuff. And how is that going to happen unless they're an ET abductee?
Weirdly enough, a lot of that lately people have been doing with the AI systems to try to get it as close to what they want it to look like as possible. They're inputting different things into the AI system and seeing what it generates and then tweaking it from there.
Which works out great. You know, I've been fighting with computers since 1979. I still can't get them to do what they should.
Right? No, I totally understand that one. Oh, God.
I mean, hell. You know, we take this neat little thing, the cell phone. I still get off the phone and don't know how to hang the stupid thing up without shutting it off.
Right?
You know.
Oh, God. Somebody at work the other day was telling me about some social media thing and was talking about TikTok and, like, all this other stuff. And I'm like, dude, I barely run Facebook. I couldn't... I have no idea what you were talking about when you go into all of these different, like, things and tell me that I should join this, this, and this and do all these. I don't know what the hell you're talking about because I have a problem posting on Facebook half of the time. Okay?
Well,
like,
I had to get somebody to tell me what does I had to ask them, what, pray tell, does GTSY stand for?
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you.
Yeah, I found that out. But I had no idea when it first started up. I'm like, what the heck does this mean?
Okay, I'm going to tell you something that's actually kind of embarrassing. But for like the first 3 years, I had no idea what LOL stood for.
Neither did I.
And I was like, what the fuck? Why do these people keep saying lol to me?
It's like, what does LMAO mean? I mean, these short little things. I know what ASAP means. I know what snafu means.
Mm-hmm.
I know what foobar means.
How about FAFO?
FAFO, I know what FIFO means.
FAFO is fuck around and find out.
Well, and then the other one that hit me really weird, like, when I started doing, like, the original texting and everything was TTYL. And I'm like, why do they keep ending this with TTY? What the fuck does... And then I was like...
I don't know, it took me a long time to find that one out.
Okay, talk to you later. Oh, okay, I get it now.
See, I loved when I found out what focus meant. You know, if somebody's not paying attention, you tell them to focus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's not what focus means, but that is what they'll think. Focus, if you look at it, actually means flock off because you're stupid.
See, and that's a first for me. I had no idea that's what that meant.
Good job. Focus. Focus.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, I feel like... Okay, so I work with a lot of people right now. I got 2 people that I work with right now. One of them is 20, and one of them is 23. Okay? And I swear to God, half of the time it's like they're speaking a completely different language than I am. Because they'll be like, oh, bro! And, like, explain something to me, and I go...
Dude, it's the
what
same language.
the fuck is that? I have no idea the words that just came out of your mouth for the last, like, 3 minutes. Like, it is so bad.
Well, I saw somebody posted something the other day, and it literally was, thank you so much, whoever told my daughter this, right? Whoever told my daughter that WTF means, wow, that's amazing. You know, that's fantastic. You know, and she goes, since somebody told my daughter that, our interactions have been absolutely fantastic.
That can also get people in trouble because like, when that song by a famous rap artist
that was
came
so
out,
bad.
The song WAP,
Oh, dear.
which means wet ass pussy. And so a preacher's daughter was listening to it with her friends, and he came in and asked, what is that song about? And she said, it's okay, it's okay. It's about worship and praise. And he used it in his next sermon.
Oh, that must have gone over well.
Okay, not only that, but he was from, like, the Texas fucking Panhandle,
Yeah.
okay? And it was like one of the big tent revival type things. And he's like, my daughter told me that this song is about worship and pray, and just played it. For
Un momento,
like all of these like 60 to 80-year-old women. Okay. Oh God, it was bad.
Are you into worship and praise, John?
No. Wait. No.
I don't think he knows how to like answer this because
No.
I broke him. Fred,
oh God.
God, that was good.
the funny thing is, when we first started this little conversation, and Keith was talking about focus, John actually wasn't paying attention, so he didn't hear what that meant. Focus means fuck off because you're stupid.
Well,
Oh, so when you like looked over the computer and said, "John, focus," and you went, "Oh, what?"
He said okay.
So many
Oh,
levels.
wow.
That is going to be my new favorite thing.
Focus.
what is
Oh dear.
Fuck off because you're stupid.
Oh dear.
it?
Oh
Did it
God.
seriously take you that long to figure out if all the letters worked?
I thought more people knew that.
No.
Oh
Like,
my
here it
God.
I've known it for quite a while. The SMH is the one I have trouble with. Some say it's scratching my head, some say it's something else, yeah.
Shaking my head. Mm-mm.
Fred,
Shut my hole.
Okay. I gotta be okay. So one of my friends just sent me a meme.
Yeah.
That says my boss looking at my negative drug test, and he's got like this weird face, and it says, "So, I guess you're just weird then."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel ya. Okay.
I'll feel ya.
He had to go and remove a problem from my son's room.
All right.
See this
Which
little guy
animal
here?
escaped?
Huh?
Which animal escapes?
Well, see this little guy here?
Yep, squirrel.
Yeah, the squirrel.
Yep.
He moved. He's hanging on the wall.
Uh-huh.
He decided moving was a good idea.
Uh-huh.
So my son asked me to move him out of the room. I mean, that happens regularly in his room. Me, I
Yeah.
just go, we got ghosts, whatever.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Now,
I like this, you know. where
so
is it? Up
me
there.
and Cole, we just recently started listening to a new podcast.
Okay.
No. Never mind.
Jesus.
Never mind,
I'm
okay.
being told to shut up. So, I'm gonna shut up.
Kayla's trying to release information before we can release information.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's classified.
Sorry.
You're not talk about it.
You can't be like Trump, Mom. You can't just release all the classified information.
You're like the Maxwell Smart of S.
Miss it
Oh
by
my.
that much.
So anyways, how's everybody doing? No.
I'm still breathing. Not impressed with the world right now, but that's normal.
Yeah, it's been a rough week, month, year. Shit.
Now, up where you are, the fires aren't affecting you a lot, are they? Or is the air quality bad there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I stay in my
yeah.
apartment for the most part, so I just don't see a lot of it. I
Yeah.
do know, I think it was Jasper is basically a third gone.
Yeah.
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 But Jasper is like 10 hours away from me, I think.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
one of the gas
Like, and
stations.
Jasper is way away.
Mm-hmm.
One of the gas stations I used to work at, actually, I watched it explode.
Well, you shouldn't have been playing with matches next to the tanks.
Hey,
And were
No
you
boys
clapping
asked.
about it?
no, I actually enjoyed that job.
Ah.
But no, it's pretty like that one sucked.
Yeah.
California has had a really horrible one.
I've
Remember
seen
how
that.
many acres it was?
I don't even remember. It was a ridiculous amount of acres, like over 100 and something thousand.
It was caused by jealousy.
Yeah, he lit it on fire.
He lit his wife's car on fire and threw it into a gully. And it's like 5 million acres or something.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous.
Like,
but yeah, he was super pissed at his wife and just was like, "Fine," and lit her car on fire and pushed it down this hill. And now there's like a 500,000 acre forest fire because of it.
Did they do anything about him?
Oh
I
yeah,
hope
so.
he's in some serious trouble.
Good.
Yeah, he got arson charges and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he's probably
Mm.
regretting it.
But they didn't pin him down in front of the oncoming fire.
Oh, what a pity.
No, unfortunately, since the times of like public executions and the guillotine, they kind
He
of
could have done it in private.
Stop bringing it back.
Right.
they're trying. They're trying to bring it back. Which one did they do recently? I think it was.
Think of the amount of popcorn they could sell.
Asphyxiation.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they a punishment or one of the in Texas or something. They tried to bring a certain type of corporal punishment where I think they friggin' took all the oxygen out of the room, if I remember right, or no, filled it with noxious gas. And,
Well, and pretty much the same outcome.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the doctor who told them to do it said this was supposed to be absolutely painless. He wouldn't feel a thing.
Yeah, guess what? It totally wasn't.
He
Totally
sat
was
there
not.
and like shook for 20 minutes.
And they were like, maybe we need more gas levels. Like, yeah, it
I'm
was
still
bad.
a firm believer a halfway
Well,
flight
beans.
will solve the problem.
What's that?
Because I'm still a firm believer that a halfway flight to England will solve the problem.
That's really expensive, though.
Not really, the plane's going anyway.
Well, okay.
Yeah, they just say,
if you're
oh, this is
keeping
your
the
exit
plane-
point.
If you're keeping the
Whoosh.
plane, I agree. But,
You know, all they gotta do is drop below 10,000 feet, open the door, and problem solved.
What do they
Yeah.
call that? Bye, Felicia? Okay.
You only say bye, Felicia, if it's Felicia you're throwing out the door. But no, the sad part is, like I asked the police one day up here, I said, why don't you guys just shoot criminals? And the guy goes, the cop looks at his friends and looks at me and goes, well, it doesn't deter other criminals. I said, no, but it will cut down on your repeat offenders.
Mm-hmm.
And he just stops cold and he goes, the best lawyer on the planet would have a problem arguing that point.
Brent,
Yeah.
I have been seeing things that have been kind of weird lately. Little memes and things that sometimes apply to each of us.
All you gotta worry about there, Cole, is stay away from the mirrors. You won't see that much. It's weird.
Fred, that is not true. Have you met my kids?
Hey,
Long time ago.
They got weird.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, you're as normal as I am, buddy.
I do believe that's classified as a right-handed insult.
Mm-hmm.
Nikki, you remember about a month ago, I said if you ever started making merchandise for yourself, one of your
yeah.
shirts has to say, do your
Yeah.
research.
I have that written down.
So, have you guys seen those memes where it says, if it's something about cars, it says, tell me you don't know anything about cars without telling me you don't know anything about cars? Friend, I saw a post about the Bermuda Triangle. And the guy says, has anyone noticed that no one's been taken from there or no one's dropped into there in the last 10 years?
Yep.
All I could think
Saw
of
that.
was Nikki coming in and saying, tell me you haven't done your research without telling me you haven't done your research.
That's a statement I say all the time. Almost on every post, do your research.
Friend,
Well, this is why I tell people don't take my word for it. Do your own dang research.
Yeah.
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 You know?
problem is, most of our society has gotten so lazy that we just follow the first thing that comes up.
Exactly.
Which is
Oh,
why
yeah.
there's so much confusion with the Paris opening Olympics. With it, they all think it's the Last Supper. Like,
Well, I get a kick out of it. Somebody made that comment about I saw this on Facebook today. Let's talk about, let's flood this picture with the truth behind the Last Supper. My first comment to myself was, why do you have a table there?
yeah.
If you're going to put the Last Supper out, why do you have a table? Because they sure as heck didn't.
Exactly.
Friend,
Amongst other
Like
things.
it was like a
Almost a lot
recreation
about
of
us,
what, the
but-
Feast of Dionysus.
yeah,
Mm,
Feast of
yeah.
Dionysus was the actual event that it was portraying. Although I don't remember in that picture the guy having his nuts out on the table either.
That was horrible.
Well, it was the start of the
back then they
Blood
were.
Angry.
No. Back then they were figs. Okay.
Fig Newtons.
You okay, Nikki?
No.
Tried to keep it in.
That's what he
Yeah,
said.
he had that problem.
Okay, how many shades of red? I'm going to be as red as my shirt here in a minute over that one. Holy crap. Oh, God.
I watched full recording of them in their entirety because I didn't get to watch them live. And I thought it actually represented France fairly well. They are culture shock.
Well, and that's
what they do.
The thing is, I'm like, this is France, guys. They are the people that brought us Cirque du Soleil. These are the people that brought us some of the craziest shit you have ever seen in your life as far as artistic outlets. Okay? What did you expect them to do for an opening ceremony? You knew it was going to be straight up nuts.
Friend, I don't know if you remember 88's, Keith. Do you?
I barely remember 88.
Okay. Friend, because, a lot of people hated that one because
Yeah, that's right, Nikki.
they had a full-on powwow in the opening ceremonies.
See, the thing we got to remember about the Olympics is I don't watch them.
Holy crap.
Right? I haven't seen a single thing except for the fact that everybody was freaking out about how horrible this was. So I was like, I gotta see this.
I've watched the news sports just like I have every year. Like, I watched the first year they did hacky sack. That was fucking hilarious.
My God. Hacky sack is in the Olympics?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay. I wonder why.
But now
Oh,
they've
dear
added
God.
freestyle BMX and skateboarding.
Which does not, to me, those types of sports, as well as figure skating, that sort of thing, should not be in the Olympics, in my opinion. Now, speed skating, on the other hand, is another issue. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I do like the skateboarding one because it's kind of chariot racing. They brought it back.
If it was, yeah, but what they do is they go, you got to do all these different stunts. I mean, sure, if they were riding skateboards and wearing armor and carrying swords, or even billy clubs, okay, then you've got something that works for the Olympics. There's a definitive, just black and white, this team won.
I gotta be honest, if somebody was on a skateboard on the top of the half pipe, and there was another dude on the skateboard on the top of the half pipe, and they were in full armor and had, oh God, what are those? The jousting things going at each other. That is something I would totally fucking watch.
No. This is the Greek Olympics.
Yeah,
They
but
don't
then
get
again,
full
you're
armor.
looking at a clear win or a clear loss.
You're like, look at that guy. He got knocked off of his horse.
At best, they would just get a chess piece.
A chess piece.
Yeah, a leather one.
Leather chess piece.
But if they're the champion, they get an iron one. Or bronze.
Well, that's just not okay. It has to be gold, silver, and bronze.
No, it can't
God.
be. It can't be gold. Gold it can't be used as armor, as the main metal.
That's not true.
would just be a shitty armor.
Yeah, it just doesn't mean
Yeah,
you're gonna win.
it would just be terrible.
But it can absolutely be done.
It can be done, but it's not better than like iron.
Okay, all I'm thinking about is that fucking crab from Moana. It's like, I'm shining.
Right.
God. Well, personally, okay, so I guess I'm one of the few out of all of us that I love the Olympics. I have been an ice skating fan. I have been a gymnastics fan, swimming.
Don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't think they're good sports.
Yeah.
All I said was they're based on people's opinion. There's no clear-cut win.
Yeah,
You know,
I get.
In
Like,
speed
I
skating,
like-
there's the end.
I
Get
like
across
shot-
the finish
shot
line.
put. I like shot put. That's mine.
You like the shot put?
Yep.
See, I don't mind the shot put, but I will tell you, getting hit with one is painful as all get out.
I can't even imagine getting hit by a steel ball just like flying around. Ouch, dude. Okay.
I unfortunately suffered that.
Yeah, my people did it for like 200 years. What are you talking about?
I think they were called bullets back in the day.
They were steel balls. Call them what you want. It still hurt like some bitch.
Oh my.
No, I had the displeasure of getting hit by a shot put. Thankfully, I didn't get hit by a javelin.
Deal with them.
So I have actually seen that. Friend,
Yikes.
the kid I knew in high school, not going to call him a friend. He wasn't. Friend, so really didn't care. But
You were the one using the javelin, weren't you?
absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was one of the freshmen, and I think I was a junior, and he got one right to the upper thigh.
Ooh.
Friend.
Ow, dude.
And it was just the kid didn't let go of the javelin in time, and it changed trajectory.
Was
So
he a
it's-
runner? That would even be worse. Okay, he's
Huh?
like running around the outside doing the 100-meter or whatever.
No, this was just in gym class.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Are you sure the kid didn't hang on to the thing too long?
And he's like,
And that he
"Oops."
didn't let go at just the right time?
Wow.
Right?
in my mind, it was kind of just the right time, but Fred,
Oh,
the kid
man.
was a prick. Like, what do you do?
So I used to do, like, you wouldn't think about that looking at me now because I'm like 5'3" and nothing. Okay, but I used to do the 100-meter hurdle when I was back in high school. And I got beat the hell up by the end hurdle once. Okay.
I'm trying to figure out how the hell you get over a hurdle 100 meters tall.
Well, you go under it. It's the sneak attack.
She's part Mexican.
Yeah, that is true.
Hated those because I was 5'3". I hated them. How did you manage? I mean, you gotta be. Holy God.
I
Oh my
used to
God.
be able to jump really, really well. Okay, and I used to be really, really fast, actually, too. So I would compete in the 100-meter hurdle and the relay races and all kinds of stuff when I was back in high school.
You do realize that it's very easy. You're in a good position where you can learn to do the hurdle again. And you can get very good at it. Because if I recall correctly, Cole has a gun.
That's true.
That is true. That is true. Actually, I have a gun that Cole uses, bastard. No.
Where are the bullets?
Wherever you put them.
Okay.
But no, like, there was this one meet that I did, and it was up at Lummi, and it was one of our last meets, and we were, like, doing the combined points and everything, and I'd made it all the way through the first 6 hurdles, and on the 7th hurdle, at the end, I, like, don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I didn't jump at all, so it just smacked me right in the forehead, and I, like, fell over this hurdle and just, like, rolled to the finish line. Okay?
Wait a minute.
But,
Wait a minute. You were running the hurdle and you didn't jump at all and caught it in your forehead?
Yes. Okay.
How tall were these hurdles?
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Is again, I'm 5'2". These hurdles stand at about 3.5 feet to 4 feet tall, depending on the hurdle. Okay.
So what's your face doing 2 feet below where your head should be?
Because you trip over the end of the hurdle when you go for it. Okay? Because I, again, didn't move at all, so therefore my feet just kind of went into that hurdle and smacked me in the head, and it was like one of those Weebles wobble but they don't fall down moments. And I just kind
I had a friend that used to be called Weeble. And every time he went out drinking, he'd get absolutely drunk, and then you watch him with his hand wobble a little, and he'd fall down, but he wouldn't spill his beer.
The best part about this, though, was that I hit it, I wobbled a little, like, on myself, and then I rolled, but I rolled over the finish line, and I still finished second. Okay.
That's not bad.
Even with the penalty?
Even with the penalty, I like it was so bad.
Well, it doesn't say you have to be running to get across the finish line, just you got across the line.
Exactly. And I was like, ugh. It was so terrible. I'm pretty sure I gave myself a pretty massive concussion, though, because that thing hit hard.
And it flashed.
Right?
You know, that was before they started making it to where those you just said it. I just can't think of the name of them. Hurdles. You literally go down if you hit them.
Yeah, okay. These were the old bar style that went out before and went out after. So you were just like smacking yourself 5 times. Oh God.
What was that?
You gotta remember, you could still knock him down. You just had to get a better run at him.
That's why I said, look at me. Still finished second. Rolled my ass to the finish line.
Me and Keith would win that event every time because we'd do it on snowmobiles. All we gotta do is jump the first one. As long as we get over that, we're good.
Oh, baby.
What?
Nothing. I love you.
Yeah, I remember when I was in high school. Of course, I didn't get into any of the gyms of the gym classes because I lost the use of my leg when I was in grade 8. Actually, the summer before grade 8. But a bunch of the sports kids decided they were going to do something really nasty with their hurdles, and they went out and on what they knew was going to be the opposition's hurdle. They literally spiked the hurdles to the ground so they wouldn't give.
Ow. Sorry. That's freaking awesome.
Could you imagine catching your trailing toe on one?
Yeah, actually I can.
Yeah, but it doesn't give at all.
Oh, okay. So,
Oh, gee.
I went to a very small high school. Nikki, you probably know, up here. I went to Mount Baker High School.
Did you hear that?
What?
That's because you were short.
So I went to Mount Baker, and Mount Baker's graduating class was 25 each year. I mean, it was a tiny, tiny class. There were 700 kids between 6th and 12th grade. Okay. And that's why I was on the hurdles team. But,
that's still bigger than mine.
yeah, it was a little bit bigger than yours. Yeah.
We had 226 in our graduating class in Mount Vernon High School.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 226.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'd be the 26. Okay. And then half of our school ended up moving over to options or the little Cedro school. So they, in by the end of the year, there were usually about 10, 15 people that would actually walk and graduate.
Wow.
And the other 8 or 10 would crawl?
I'm sure that a few of them crawled. You ever seen those Mount Baker boys? Oof.
No, but I did see the grad ceremony after our grad party. A lot of people were in rough shape.
Right.
Yeah, I think I crawled at mine for a little bit.
So, we had, like, senior prank day. Okay. Okay. And at this time, I was actually only a junior, but I hung out with, like, all of the seniors. And they were trying to think of a prank to, like, screw up the school, to whatever. So we went out and we went fishing at Lake Whatcom. And we caught as many largemouth bass as we could possibly catch the day before. And then we snuck into the school and we put them in each of the toilets and all of the sinks. Okay? And we, like, snuck out of the school. We're like, aha, that's great. This is going to be amazing. So they actually ended up shutting down the school for a day and a half because they had to call the humane services, like animal control, whatever, to safely remove these fish out of each of the toilets before they would let us go back into the school.
Bacteria.
What
I'm
was that?
assuming of the bacteria.
Yeah. And so it was great because not only did we get our prank across, but hey, we got a day and a half off of school for doing it.
Well, I've seen some absolutely hilarious, some well thought out. I don't know if they were hilarious, they were expensive. Pranks that the different schools have pulled. Mm-hmm. My brother's grad class, they decided they wanted to have the same idea. So they pulled a prank. They went out about 3 o'clock in the morning and crazy glued every window and every door shut on the school and went home.
Damn.
I got suspended for a week for our high school, or for our senior prank. And we took our computer teacher's Volkswagen Bug and put it on the first floor of the school, like on top of it.
And you got suspended for a week and a half for that? That was such a child maneuver.
Right? Like, it all you would have had to do is ask us to bring it back down. Because, we walked it up there. It was 10 guys, and we just lifted the car, moved it up the stairs to the second floor on the outside, because we had the safety stairs on the outside of the building, and set it down on one of the corners. And then he got mad. Madder than I've ever seen this man. Because, we used to, our whole thing was antagonizing him. And it was because we liked him. I can't even remember how to say his last name. He was an East Indian.
You liked him that much, eh?
Yeah, I did. But the reason being is because I never used his last name. We found out in grade 9, we found out his actual first name, and we never called him anything else. He was Charles. That was it. But we used to pull all kinds of things in his class where do you guys remember a computer game back in the day called Doom?
Yep.
Yeah.
We put it on all the computers and then locked him out as the administrator.
See, my little brother, he and his grad class decided to pull a really cute one on the principal. Because they had a principal that said, he started off the year telling everybody in the grad class, I know everything about every one of you. Don't try and pull anything over on me. Right? And he told them this repeatedly throughout the year. Well, come grad, the valedictorian kind of goes up, does his speech, and then goes, now, before I go down, before I step down, just one more thing to the principal, to Mr. I don't know what his name was, but to the principal. So the principal comes up and goes, yeah. She goes, do you remember, do you remember a young lad called Ignatowski? Right? That was his last name. I think it was Joe or something like that, but his last name was Ignatowski, and the principal goes, yes, absolutely, straight A student, always has homework in on time, always helping other people, always good reports during when parent-teacher interviews came on. And she goes, yeah, that's the one. What about him? He was 100% illusory. The whole grad class, including a number of the parents, had stepped in, done all of his homework, signed up for all kinds of different right, got involved in everything, including the yearbook. The guy even had his picture in the yearbook. You know how they put that little picture that says not available? He had one.
That's fucking hilarious.
So the valedictorian of Mount Baker for 2005. Okay. So there's this kid, and he never went to school. He never did anything. And me and him were friends. Me and him hung out all the time. And he was the biggest pothead you have ever met in your entire life. Okay?
Well,
and he
clearly have met some of the people I knew.
He would be the dude that would be like wandering around in the woods looking for magic shrooms and being like, oh, dude. Okay.
Oh, he would, hey?
Okay, shut up.
Yeah, don't pop her bubble.
I go to the graduation ceremony because my buddy Nick is graduating. And they call the valedictorian. And it's this kid. Okay? And I'm like, bullshit! Like, everybody is sitting there going, what the fuck? Well, turns out he had totally finished, like, every credit he needed to do by sophomore year and had just had to do 2 PE credits for the last 2 years that he was there. So he graduated, like, top of his class, valedictorian, everything else. But he was just a little shit. Like, it was terrible. I was like, no way.
I was a little disappointed this year in our son's graduation, Jalen's. They had 6 valedictorians.
How?
That's right, 6.
Right?
Yeah, that's exactly what we thought. I was like, how in the fuck does that happen?
I mean, maybe I'm missing math here, but I thought valedictorian was only one person.
Yeah,
Unless
right?
it's an MPT, and then you can have 6.
Well, yeah. So there's... what's the other one that they have now? Salutarian?
Salutarian, which is like
It's supposed to be
second best, or whatever.
We had that.
And when I went to high school, no one would want that award.
Congratulations, you're second best at everything.
Like,
Awesome.
but yeah, they had 6 valedictorians. They all got together and did one speech, and one would start, and then the next one would take off in the middle of a sentence, which was kind of cool. But it's because they...
It's kind of like dinner around my place growing up.
They all got an exact 4.0.
And they had no idea how to split it to make it so that it was fair for these kids. And they looked at their extracurriculars and everything, and all of them had the same amount of stuff that they did outside of school as well.
200 kids in the class, and they did this very cool thing called a roll call. So they started telling a story, and as they were telling the story, they switched different words that would have something to do with the people.
For their names.
So they would say their names, and as they heard their names, they had to stand up. So when they came to Jalen's, Jalen is very much into shoes. So they were talking about the pair of Jordans that he always wore.
So I got myself a brand new pair of Jalen's. And he's like, yeah.
Right. Like, parts of it were very cool. Parts of it were very culty. Because at the end, they all held hands, and then they raised their hands to the sky, praised Cedro Woolley, and then bowed to the center.
They didn't hold hands. They held pinkies.
Oh yeah, they held pinkies. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was super weird.
And then they all got onto a bus to a place they had no idea where they were going, had to give up all their personal items, and weren't told where they're going until they were out of town.
Yeah, that was their senior
Very
trip.
culty.
And I was like, I don't know about all that. You're going to take away all their devices and just ship them off to somewhere nobody knows? Like some disclosed location? That's a lot.
We went to Seattle and had a after graduation. Those that could do it, we went into downtown Seattle and took a ride.
Did you graduate from?
Mount Vernon High School.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And we took a trip on the Virginia V.
Oh, okay.
And partied.
Yeah, these guys went to Silverwood.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And we did a lot of...
See, I wasn't even planning on going to my grad, except for one young lass come up to me and she goes, "You're either going or we're coming and kidnapping you."
You're like, "I got this. I'm going."
Well, I mean, it was the only girl, it was literally the only girl in the school. Well, the only person in the school that took me as is right from the get-go.
Rock on.
Nice. It's always good to have at least one.
And that was the problem.
So my sister, my oldest sister, she graduated from Mount Lake Terrace High School. Okay, so just outside of Seattle, there's a little place called Mount Lake Terrace. And little, it's huge now. It's basically just been sucked up by Seattle. But her graduating class was like 2,000 people. Okay, this school had like 7,000 people in it. Okay. So, her graduating class was 2,000 people. Well, when it came to senior pranks and everything else, well, there's 2,000 kids that are pulling different pranks. Okay? So, we grew up on the outskirts, like, down in Alderwood, Linwood area. And my grandparents, we lived with my grandparents, and they had been grandfathered in to be the only people allowed to have certain livestock at our place still. So they raised chickens, and they raised a lot of chickens. So my sister, for her senior prank, she went and she live trapped a shit ton of these chickens. And she went to this school that's basically downtown Seattle, and she released all of these chickens inside of the school. Okay? And all of these city kids had no idea what to do with a chicken, and they were the big spur white chickens. So they would like attack people, and they'd like run at them and be like, "Ah!" Right? So it caused this, like, havoc at the school that they hadn't seen in years. Because, what the fuck, these chickens are just running around attacking kids and, like, spurs out and everything else. And it was great. It took, I think, 12 faculty members, 2 janitors, and the lunch lady to get the chickens out of the school.
Well, at least they weren't dealing with bullshit.
Right.
They didn't bring cows.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They could have brought the cows. You're dealing with...
Oh my God. Exactly.
Well, all you do there is you just set up a running with bulls like they do in Spain.
Right? Oh my God. There were kids that were just terrified. They'd never seen one of these creatures before.
That's funny, but not at the same time. It's
Right.
hysterical.
Yeah, I always you know,
I wonder how many people got put off eggs.
make me happy.
Pigs? I don't want to talk about
Egg.
pigs.
Eggs.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh man, I got some bad stories with pigs. I don't want to talk about those things.
Yeah,
did
we'll
you
just leave that alone.
Yeah, the badgers are too hard to pull off.
Yeah.
Robert, oh yeah? You think that's bad? I took a kangaroo and let it loose.
We don't want to know.
No.
And he can't hang on after first mile. No good.
Oh,
that went farther than I expected that to.
That was a lot. That was a lot.
oh dear God.
There's just a
Yeah,
dingo holding a baby running through the school.
Oh man.
Jesus.
That could be
So-
bad. Be bad.
We got so far off. I don't know how to bring this back, even.
I don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
We only got
You like
9
to
minutes
suck there?
to bring it
It'll
back,
work.
so.
Friend, hey, I have an idea. So, cryptids, friend,
And you only allowed one a year.
do you think it's possible? Because we've talked about Bigfoot and how they have families. They obviously teach their young. Do you think just before they graduate to adulthood, they play pranks on their parents?
They do what?
Play pranks on
Pranks.
their parents.
Oh,
There's a human I prepared earlier.
Yeah.
Much as that would be a cute idea, there's only one problem with it.
What's that?
Hey, if humans pull a prank on the parent may get upset. But the parent won't, on the whole, beat the living stuffing out of you.
well, okay, so I kind of feel that sometimes, like, Bigfoots play pranks on people. So, I mean,
Oh, they
like,
actually do. But
yeah,
not on
so-
each other.
So, I mean, like, if they built, like, this rock structure and they were like, hey, Dad, I don't know where this came from. Like, maybe something of that nature. But I don't think it would be anything that would be, like, detrimental. Because I can see this being, like, my family thing where there's, like, an angry Mexican woman with a flip-flop. Okay. Oh, hell no! Okay. And I don't think Bigfoot's into that.
So I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
they-
say,
Anything I've ever seen. No, I remember one chap that I knew of where the kid did something wrong and Dad said you're grounded, and the kid goes, I know my rights. You can't ground me. I can do such and such and such and such. I'm going to call 911 and report you. And the father picks up the phone and hands it to her. And she looks at him kind of dumbfounded and looks at the phone, and he goes, go ahead. I'm an adult. I know when you phone 911, they're going to come out here and arrest me. But I also know it's going to take them 20 minutes to get here, where I can do whatever I please and make sure I get arrested for a good reason. She handed it back.
Right?
friend,
Logic can be more frightening to a team than anything else.
Okay. And I gotta tell you, I love my parents. I love my parents to pieces. But my dad is very hardcore, old school Mexican. Okay? And my
Well,
mother...
you do remember Lizzie Borden loved her parents to pieces too, eh?
And my mother is very different.
She couldn't hack it.
Jesus Christ. So did Lizzie Borden. mom would be upset about something, okay, she would poke you with her finger in the shoulder. And she would do it to every syllable of every word. So she'd be like, I don't understand why you think. And like,
Guys, I actually saw this because she brought it back. After 25 years. Her grandson pissed her off enough she brought that shit back.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and she's just standing there at the campfire, and he's pissed off, and he's like, what are you gonna do, Grandma? And she starts poking him in the shoulder, and is like, I don't care what you think you can... And I was like, oh my god, this is my mom!
Before that, she, like, sprinted across the campground to
She
go
did,
over.
it was crazy.
I was so surprised because she, like, got there in a second.
Every kid under the age of 25 was absolutely fucking terrified.
Yeah, okay, so I have a cousin that used to come over like every other summer, and she went, oh shit! And just like booked the other way.
She thought she was in trouble. She hadn't done anything, just figured, well, safer than sorry.
Oh my god, oh shit! And just runs away. It was like, it was great.
I'm just thinking, Nikki, you might want to breathe.
Yeah, you should try that.
Hey, you know, you're right. It did turn just as red as your shirt.
Oh, but what are we going to be talking about next week?
We are not going to tell the audience that at this point.
No.
We are not going to tell the
We'll
audience
discuss
what we
we're
are
gonna have
talking
right
about
after
next
this
week.
clears up, so.
But
It's going to be a mystery.
going to be amazing. You guys are going to love this.
It's going to be a musical about
Okay.
Hamilton.
Yeah, everybody has to sing. No. This is our one musical S4 for the year.
We're
Keith,
fucking doing that.
What?
We're doing it.
Come on.
I reckon you'd like this shirt.
Uh-oh. Trying to read it. All I can read on is sad to say,
It says, okay then, I guess I'll die, because it's a dice with one.
yeah.
And
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Don't mind keep my eyes for a little
D&D. Yeah.
That's awesome. Where did you do
Yeah,
that?
I still figure on my tombstone, I'm just going to go, well, that didn't work. Either that or here we go again.
That's actually our Wi-Fi password for the house, is Nat1 4U.
It is. Okay. Yeah, that shows how big of dorks we are. That's great. Okay. I'm going to tell you, because I don't know. But we have it's a 5-tier
nice.
filing
Used to
cabinet.
play that.
Completely full of D&D shit. Okay, from top to bottom.
No,
We have-
just the one shelf.
So many dice, it's not even funny. And like every fucking book you can possibly think of. And it just lives in...
In that certain cupboard.
We only have books from the latest edition. We have nothing from the
Season 5.
My dad won't give them to me till he dies.
Yeah, but then we have the 1970s all the way up. So,
Good.
Friend. All right, guys, we are at the last 2 minutes.
Yep.
I think before we end up actually killing Nikki from lack of oxygen.
Lack of oxygen.
Asphyxiation in this case.
Friend,
so what we can take away from today is, yeah, cryptids.
friend,
If you can't take them away, write them.
I do have one thing to take away from today. If a Bigfoot does play a prank on his parents, that's fucking commitment. For him, yes, if you're willing to die for that prank, damn right, you do it.
I also have a takeaway from today, which is, Nikki, if you're going to be laughing that hard, you should not be wearing a red shirt.
But it's...
Oh, the red shirts don't make it.
All she's got to do though is, just put a red sheet over on the chair behind you, and you can vanish.
It'll blend in, yeah.
Where did Nikki go? She's got powers.
All right. Well, that ate up the last 2 minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for listening. We will be back next week with a very exciting mystery show.
Mysteries.
Join us every Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you check out Arch Andrews at Inner Voices Enterprises, right?
Inner Voice.
Inner Voice.
Inner Voice.
And then, Nikki, what is yours again?
Or Belief with Nikki on YouTube.
There we go.
All right.
And
Robert at Outback Station.
I haven't got one yet.
all right, thank you guys for listening, and good night, all.
Bye.
No, mate.
There you go.
Data transfer complete. System malfunction. Please evacuate immediately. Program terminated.
Son of a biscuit eater.